I just want to do a quick review of the Hellwig helper spring. I'm happy with them. So basically, I've got the lightener rack and a rooftop, and with all my tools and everything, is about 850 extra pounds. My truck was actually, I bought it used. It was kind of a weird order. I wish I had the codes on me. My truck actually came with the higher rate front springs, the 3,900 pounds, but it came with the kind of the second highest load rating of the rear springs. My truck also had 331 gears. I swapped axles to go to the 373. The truck that the axle came out of, I went ahead and bought the springs to the highest rating. I think it's the highest rating minus that super heavy 7-lug spring rate. I started off with the super spring that went all the nice long one. I thought that maybe, the longer spring would give a nice smooth ride, which it did, but I really just needed a little extra. Not only for that, we also have a new camper that's about 2,000 pounds, and not that my truck sagged at all really, but I just wanted a little extra, just keep everything level. The problem with the super spring was that its brackets were long, and unless I had it real, you could adjust it, you could bring it down, and that lifted my truck too much, because if I didn't, if I had on the lowest setting, it hit that. Even on the highest setting, on big whoops, it would still contact that. It's kind of a universal spring, which I guess these are also. So now they make two levels of this. They make this, which is the first, which is just a single spring, and then there's another one that has like a secondary spring there. I started off with this, with the standard one, because like I said, I just need a little. I did hear a lot of reviews, or read a lot of reviews, that it really doesn't help lift much. It lifted my truck a touch. Now, I drove it for a while, and I wanted to change the brackets around. So basically, it's got these thicker ones, slightly thinner, and I think in the instructions they have you put the thick ones here and the thin ones there. The problem, and maybe they did that on purpose, the things with the thinner ones is that the threads only go up so high, and so these were like that, and maybe they made it that way. But I also noticed that when I put the brackets on the front of my spring, it actually compressed them a little bit, and I could just tell that actually created a little bit of bind. So last time I had it up in the air, I just slowly loosened everything up. Now the rear, even like full extended like this, it didn't change. But when I loosened the front up, I could tell these came apart. And I'm just like, well, that's maybe creating a little bit of bind and actually taking away a little bit of the lift. So not only did I leave the front off, I also swapped to the bigger ones on the ends and actually could bring them all the way down. So, which really wasn't necessary, but it gave me just that little extra. And then it hasn't moved around at all on me, so I'm not even worried about having this. We just came back from a 4,000. I've put 4,000 miles on. The trip was 2,900. Pulling our new camper. And it rides great. It rides great the way it is. This is probably the cheapest way to go too. So if you need just a little extra, I would recommend these. The only thing, I do have a little bit of heading on the exhaust, but I can't guarantee that would happen to everybody, because I've made a custom full 3-inch, and I'm using SP downpipes. Cata downpipes that I think are technically for a 15-17, and I have a 13. I think they're shaped just slightly different. While I'm got the video going, I also did the Bilsteins all the way. I'm a big Bilstein fanboy. I've got them on my Mazda Speed 6 and my Fox body, but I did the whatever they are, the 61s, whatevers. And then I just did the second notch up. I didn't want my truck really, so like I said, my truck already came with the higher rate factory, the 39. So with the new shock, the higher rate spring from Bilstein, and then I did put a fresh rubber, mounting pad there. It actually raised it a full inch, even at that just the second notch up. So I think a lot of times maybe people just change the shocks and then but I think a lot of times if you just put the isolator in there, it'd give you a good lift.